Hello there, right here we got a brand new 1.18 snapshot. This is 21W41A, and there is a new back menu screen. Unlike the other screens, this one is taken when the sun is just coming out after the night. You see the moon's going down over here, and over here on the right hand side, the sun is coming up. Overall, it does make everything look a lot darker, a little bit harder to see in general, but it's cool that they came out with a sun rising background instead of the typical ones. It does kind of show off the cliffs as well. So they got the cliffs over here, and there's also the mountains showing some different types like the snowy slopes as well as the icy peaks. And they even have some of the really pointy ones that go above the clouds. So overall, very cool. Now this snapshot is a little bit smaller than other ones because they are coming out with the Minecraft live event this Saturday. If you haven't already seen, I put out 3 videos going over the 3 new mobs that we can vote on. And I will be doing another video going into more in depth about those mobs as well as what we could see coming out with the 1.19 Minecraft update. So besides a pretty background, they also came in and changed in how geodes generate in the world. They will no longer generate above Y level 30, as well as their rarity has been adjusted so they're just like in 1.17. This is probably to combat people just using night vision and flying over top of oceans, and then you would typically just see the geodes popping up through the top of them. Now you can still kind of use this tactic as they can be as high as Y level 30 and generate just slightly above that, and deep oceans can go down to Y level 30. So I would recommend still using this tactic but in deep ocean. So here's an example of a ocean geode just like we've seen in prior snapshots. We just got to find a really low down deep ocean, and the geode technically did generate below Y level 30, but since it was so tall it pops up out of the ocean so you can still see it. If you're flying around, you can see this little guy sticking out. Now, one of the devs also said that it is a feature that mine shafts and other structures can go through geodes. I found this weird structure here where it's just part of a mine shaft, just one wide, and I guess it connects with that, but it's just sitting in this geode. They also changed Badland mine shafts. If you guys don't know, mine shafts different in Badlands. They can generate with the dark oak wood as well as up high, and they change it so that they can even spawn up higher yet now that we have these mountain-like Badland structures. So hopping into one of these, you can actually have a quite fun time exploring them all, and they no longer will just be really small and broken up. And the centers of these mine shafts for the Badlands also have one of these open rooms, but they no longer have the dirt floors. You can see that some rails are floating now. They also tweaked the angle in which you can hit up against a wall while sprinting and not have yourself break out of the sprint. It looks like the angle is about 7 degrees. They also did some technical changes, including changing the priority of how chunks render, and this should help when flying really fast and loading chunks in front of you. They also came in and added in server classes are now assigned, and they also came in with a new random number generator for overworld generation, so we can get completely new looking worlds now. Besides that, the developers also fixed quite a few bugs that have been in the game for a while. The texture on the item frame of the item versus the actual were 2 different plank colors, so they adjusted this. The handles on signs didn't actually match the proper textures, which they fixed. This little pixel for the campfire item was hanging outside of the slot. In some of the villager zombies, the texture of the actual villager was coming through. The Wither Skull projectiles were actually using the old texture, which they now updated. There are some inconsistencies with the item door and the actual door, which consist of the handles and hinges, which they updated. They also came in and resolved this problem that you might have seen where chunks were glitchy in the last few versions, and they just wouldn't show up. When comparators were lit up, they were actually missing these few little dust particles on the top of them. The little lapis indicator inside of the enchanting table was actually using the old lapis texture instead of the new one, so they updated it. They fixed the parity issue with signs between Java Edition and Bedrock Edition. There was the incorrect pixel for the glowberry vines, which they addressed. The item frame versus the glowing item frame actually had different images for the sword in the center. They finally got around to fixing the problem with the nether dimension not generating correctly. One of the main problems that I heard you guys talk about is that the number of seeds that were different in 1.18 was drastically reduced compared to past versions. And instead, these seeds were just similar to other worlds. They went ahead and fixed this problem. So once again, speedrunners have a lot of options to look for cool and unique worlds for their needs. They fixed a problem where snowy slope biomes weren't generating the stone cliff feature. They also added in stone back into the jagged peaks. They fixed a problem where axolotls weren't actually able to spawn inside lush caves. There's something called inhabited time value as well as local difficulty. And it kind of determines how long a player has been inside of a chunk. And this was used to allow ocean monuments to generate inside of chunks that players didn't play too much inside of back in 1.8. And the local difficulty is used to determine how difficult mobs can get within an area. But these values weren't actually working in these recent snapshots, so they went ahead and changed it. Some other things that they fixed that I didn't mention in the last snapshot review: emerald ore and the infested blocks weren't generating in snowy mountain biomes. Mansions were still trying to generate inside of the hills of Dark Forest, causing them to be submerged. Dolphins were trying to catch up to boats that were on land. as well as dolphins on land were also trying to catch boats in the water. Water that was supposed to be automatically frozen when generated wasn't in cold biomes. Players were accidentally being spawned directly inside of blocks for Badlands. Mushroom Islands didn't have the appropriate warm-colored waters near them. Random single water source pools popping up, dirt being around these pools rather than it being grass. The Adventure Time advancement was still accepting old biomes that no longer exist. The game was putting foliage from other biomes into the wrong biomes. Some noticeable changes overall before we get to see exactly what's going to be in 1.19 with the Minecraft live event this Saturday. Make sure you guys are subscribed so you don't miss out on my review video of the live stream. And this very Wednesday, I'm actually doing a live stream of this snapshot as well as talking about what potentially we could see coming out with the new mobs that we get to vote on. So make sure to hop on into the description and click on my Twitch stream, and I'll see you guys all over there. I would like to thank all you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.